Thank you for joining us. Arif Essa, the founder and CEO of Moneyin Global. I've followed the Moneyin story now for about 3 years, I believe. Our first contact was sometime around 2022, and I believe and I have seen that you are doing awesome in the fintech space, and you are doing awesome in everything you do because I'm seeing that there are products that are also attached to Moneyin and your engagement on international waters. So let's get to meet Arif Essa. Who is Arif Essa and what are your interests?
Firstly, thank you for giving us this opportunity to have this discussion with you and for being a real supporter. You've always been there for us, you've always helped us, you've always guided us, and we truly appreciated of that.
Mm.
But as your question goes, what is our interest? What do we do, and how do we do things? Our interest has always been to be able to help the people. So, for example, whenever we've done business, besides money in, besides all the work that we've been doing right now, we've always had an interest in giving back to the community, building up a society, helping the public, mainly within Africa, because we see so much potential in Africa where people have just forgotten about. So that's our main goal, our main interest is how do we help connect Africa to the rest of the world? And that's our core vision, should we say, when we initiated Money in itself. So yeah, I would say that our interest is actually to help the community, give back to the community, and build something so strong that will just make people more independent.
Wow, that's beautiful. The mission for you is somewhat similar to in the media space for us.
Yeah.
We are bringing out the best of Africa. We're showcasing and telling people that there's more in Africa and there's more to Africa than what you've heard. And so to see that you are doing the connection in the fintech space to connect Africa to best and better finance is wonderful. It's really wonderful. So now looking at your journey across finance, tech, and any other sector you have been in, what inspired you to start Moneyin?
I think money in, it was a tricky one because my background has always been finance. So we've always helped African governments and other governments in finding alternative mechanisms and ways to assist the local economy or assist the country to become more and more independent. So they're not reliant on the rest of the world. Because Africa, as you know, has so many minerals and so much benefits that they could, if they wanted to, be independent. So it was actually during COVID where me and my other partners where we had nothing better to do besides talk. So, so it was actually COVID that actually got us round the table, and we realized that we were in Morocco at that time. So we realized that in order to send money, it wasn't the way we had in mind. It wasn't how we used to do it in England, where it was instant, faster payments. It would take 3, 4 days for money to be sent from one bank to another bank, and that's locally, not even
Yes.
internationally. So
Hmm.
that got us thinking that this has to change. And that's where we came up with the idea of Money In. And we decided that let's start developing a platform that actually gives back to the people, that leaves the people in control of their finance without having to pay the high fees or having to wait 2, 3, 4 days for their money to arrive. So the creation of Money In was developed over a coffee whilst we're in lockdown from there.
Wow, that shows it shows some ingenuity on your part. It shows that there's power in groups that sit down and discuss. And again, like you mentioned, it's wonderful to see that you were able to identify a situation, a problem, because it's a digital world already. The world has gone global and it's a digital world.
Yeah.
And imagine not being able to send money as instantaneous as you want in such digital economy. Well, now looking at that, what are the core problems? Of course, you mentioned to us that money in solves fast transfer of money and money problems, but can you list out the core problems that money in is solving in the financial landscape today? And what
Yeah.
makes money in different from other digital banking or fintech platforms?
Yeah. No, thank you. Well, I think some of the core problems that we find that sending money, whether it's locally or internationally, is expensive. So just to give you an example, if you want to send money to Africa, it can cost anything between 5% to 30%,
Yes,
which
yes,
is
agreed.
absolutely ridiculous. We don't believe that should be the case. To send money, that it should be as minimal as possible because this is your hard-earned money. This is your savings that you've been saving up so hard and working so hard that you should be able to
Yes,
not have
yes,
to spend 30% of it on transferring. So this was one key element for us that we wanted to change when it comes to global remittances for people to be able to send money back home. And that is a huge, huge market and a huge problem. The other issue that we found is the payments were not instant, or it would take maybe up to 7 days to actually arrive. Now, unless you're paying the higher prices and you're doing Western Union or MoneyGram or something like this,
yes,
it takes too long. Banking systems have improved slightly over the years, and it is getting more and more faster when it comes to clearance times, but the costs are going higher and higher and higher as a result.
yes,
So we've tried to build a system which would allow an instantaneous swap or at least 24, 48 hours, depending on the time zones and locations. And we've managed to do that by coupling blockchain into the scenario to allow people to send money as they would do in one location and instantly get it into another location at a massively reduced rate. These would be the two core problems that we found in this particular industry, uh, besides the traditional banks dominating and monopolizing from there.
absolutely. So I got out of the things you've mentioned, I also got that one, aside instantaneous transfers,
Yeah.
the cost of sending money is something that Money In is solving. Can you take us through that process? Is it that Money In doesn't charge for transfers, or is it that Money In charges less for transfers? How does that process work?
We try to keep our overheads down. So what we tend to do is we keep our fees very, very minimal. Of course, we do charge, but we don't add on the commissions on foreign exchange, for example. We don't add on hundreds of different hidden charges that other banks tend to do when it comes to
Yeah,
that. Our pricing is clear and transparent. So, for example, if someone wants to send money from Canada, let's say, to Nigeria, they right now they're paying from the banks with all the hidden charges. They could be paying around 8%. So with us, we're basically saying whatever the exchange rate is the exchange rate. You get it at your cost price. In fact, we're
mm,
working with other foreign traders or foreign exchange companies in order to even get you a better rate compared to the traditional banks. So one, we're saving you on the foreign exchange. Two, our fees are very, very minimal. So we charge anything between 1 to 1.5%, sometimes even 0.5%. And that's just to cover the Swift charges or the additional corresponding bank charges, etc. from there. So all in all, you literally are paying around 1% on average for a transaction, which com
wow, wow,
compared
one
to other.
percent of it. That means it's 1% of the money that you're sending that
Yes.
you're paying. That's what
Yeah,
you mean.
exactly.
Wow,
Exactly.
that's low. That's is there a rival digital banking platform offering such? I haven't seen though. I really haven't seen.
Yeah. Uh, it is changing the industry. It is, we hope, will be adopted by our competitors. The idea is someone has to start first, and I
Sure,
believe
sure.
that's us. We'll start first, and others hopefully will follow.
Well, that's beautiful. So, talking about starting, of course, we need you to lead us through your journey. Where did you start from? And where are you now? Are you covering the whole of Africa? Are you going beyond Africa into the globe? Where did Moneyin start from? Morocco?
Yeah, so Moneyin originated, or the ideation came from whilst we were in Morocco. And during that period, we were doing a lot of lobbying and a lot of working with local governments in order to bring our project to life, essentially. So it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't easy. It is hard work, especially when you're coming in and you're trying to compete against uh, the bigger banks. The bigger banks do put a lot of blockage in place, and they try to push you away from there. But I guess
Uh,
that's all businesses, so we shouldn't really complain too much about that. But we, the regulatory requirements at that particular time was too new, meaning it, our technology was too advanced for the society of that time.
mm,
So the regulators at that point didn't fully quite understand how our software was operating, how we could do something when banks have been trying for decades. And they couldn't quite see that our system, our mechanism, was much safer and faster and cleaner than the traditional banks. Now, this could be because the banks themselves were lobbying or trying to delay things. There could be a number of different factors behind
yes.
it.
Mm,
But overall, we did push forward. We have been, it's now been what, 4 years, where Morocco has finally said that they would be willing to allow us to come forward with our licensing. Uh,
wow.
and it has been a challenge, but that journey took us and opened up the doors for the rest of the world. So we opened up an office in South Africa where we'll be looking at
Oh,
working with local partners and local banks in order to team up and bring our solution to the country. We are exploring Nigeria, so we have got a local base now that is doing the feasibilities and working out which partners would be the best to team up with. And of course, we've got Canada. Canada was an interesting one because they invited us over in order to bring our technology to the local economy to help boost it and connect Canada to Africa to Europe, etc. from there. So,
wow.
so our licenses, we now have 18 different financial licenses. Um, with our latest license being issued for telecommunications. So we are going to bring telecommunications into the banking industry as well. So
Wow,
that's
that's interesting. Well, all of this is they are interesting aspects to how Money In has grown. So it means from Morocco now you're global, you're in Canada, seeing how you can connect Canada to Africa, Canada to Europe. And how
exactly.
has that been so far? How has that activity been so far for you as CEO and also for the board at Money In? How's that
Mm.
been?
It's been a learning curve. It's there's obviously when you think you know it, there's always more to learn and there's always more to do.
True, true.
There is a lot of hurdles. So even when you have the licenses, it's not as easy as one would imagine. So you're still going to face the banks, you're still going to face your competitors, you're still going to find a lot of obstacles in your way. So it has been stressful at times, and it's made us realize that we need to adapt our deployment strategies in order to make it a bit more easy and compelling to the people to start using us. So, for example, when we first started Money In, we were always promoting it as becoming the first all-in-one platform. We haven't deviated away from that. We have stuck to that, and we have been launching smaller products that will eventually merge into one. Uh, so, for example, whilst we realize launching the traditional banking model is going to take a bit of time due to some of the hurdles and requirements that are needed in different jurisdictions, we decided that we would launch the educational side. So we've got the My Academy, which has allowed us to team up with an American university to offer accredited university courses, which can ultimately be save you 50, 60, 70% of your tuition fees. So we're we're trying to launch these different initiatives such as finance courses, blockchain courses, to help people understand that they can, one, study affordably. They can study whilst remotely to build up their accreditations, to build up their knowledge that will help them further advance down the line. And then, should they want to, they can apply for universities overseas to gain further experience, further qualifications that will ultimately help them take their skills back to their home country or wherever they decide to move forward to. So that's our My Academy, which will slowly be integrated into the banking solution. Uh,
Wow. Wow.
that's
That's
just one of what.
visionary.
No, thank you.
That's visionary. So with this academy now, how has it been so far? Is it being used by people? There are people that have tested it, and how are you integrating such educational platform with banking? How would they work hand in hand?
So when it comes to the testing and sales of the courses, etc., we have only just launched the academy, I think about 1 month ago, thereabouts officially. So it's quite new. We're now just building up the different courses to implement onto the actual academy, digital academy from there, which our first course has been the blockchain course, and we have had a good amount of people looking to take out the courses at a very affordable price. So we have been doing the testings because when we launch, we want to make sure that it's working correctly. We don't want to just launch and then waste everyone's time. So that's why it took us a while to actually get it up and going. But now that it is up and going, we're getting a lot of interest from overseas. We've got Asia, we've got the US, we've got Africa, where a lot of people are now interested in taking these affordable courses in order to build up their knowledge when it comes to these particular industries. For us, we want to help people fully understand finance properly. So that's why we launched a blockchain course, purely because, as you know, cryptocurrency has started to take off a lot,
Oh,
especially in
yes.
America, in Africa, where people are now investing in crypto, but we believe that if they're going to invest in crypto, they should have a proper knowledge of it. So they're not just losing their money. And that's what we're hoping our courses will do is give them better knowledge and better understanding on how they can keep safe, how they can trade, and how they can utilize blockchain in their everyday life, which then helps them with our platform, our banking platform, because we utilize all of this. So we believe we need to educate the people enough so that they can be self-conscious to be able to make the decisions on their own, but at the same time build a solution that is so easy to use that they don't really need to focus too much on the complicated side of things from there.
Wow. So it's safe to say that alongside providing banking services and digital services, you also provide education to finance so
Yes,
people can better know how they can use finance for
yes,
themselves. Now,
exactly, exactly.
that's beautiful. So for as long as Money In has been operating, what are the use cases where we have money in impacting maybe a small business or an individual? Are there examples you can share with us of how Money In has been transforming the digital banking system?
I think the best example I can give is for the cross-border and international trades. We have a few clients which have been operating out from different regions, such as Australia, US, Africa, where they've been needing to do urgent trades, but they can't obtain credit facilities. So when you're using the traditional banking system, you either have a mechanism, a platform in place that will keep you safe and secure, or you need to have a mechanism or a credit facility in place that will pay in advance for certain products,
Yeah.
in order to make sure you receive these products. So one of our platforms or products that we have launched is our escrow service. Now, our escrow service or escrow platform allows the party to basically conduct business in a safe environment, whether that's internationally or locally. They can deposit their money into a regulated account, into a trust account. They can then do the negotiations through the platform, and once everything's been agreed, the money then is released for that particular product, from there. And how the money side works is because we can accept multiple currencies, we can do the conversions on an instantaneous basis. So they're not having to wait 3 or 4 days to receive the finance, and they can just seamlessly do business without any delays whatsoever. So this has been our biggest achievement when it comes to connecting different pieces into the platform from there.
Wow, that's beautiful. In fact, the next question I was looking to ask is the new products that you are developing
Yeah.
and how far you have come with new products and integrating them into Moneyin. So now you've mentioned the escrow service you're building. Tell us about this escrow service. You've shared something with me on it, and the document is so comprehensive. It looks like a great idea that can even help scale the African market. So get to introduce us to this product. Let's hear it.
No, thank you. So the product that we've developed is it's an escrow solution on the Cabex FX platform. Cabex FX is just another product of Moneyin. Uh, it's a standalone brand, but it's more catered towards trade finance and the higher up trading activities such as cross-border buy and sell of commodities or international trade. So the idea of the escrow solution was to find an alternative way for smaller businesses to conduct business without having to seek the traditional LCs or standby letter of credits or bank guarantees that a lot of people cannot obtain anymore. It's not like it used to be. The banks have become much more stricter, much more difficult. But that puts a lot of smaller businesses, such as in Africa, the farmers, where they're unable to actually expand and they're struggling to be able to go to the open market, uh, and allowing them to, and basically they're not making, people are abusing them in a sense that they're not able to make the same profit margins as the end buyer. So what we're trying to do is put a system in place that will link the actual source to the principles. And what that will do is give them the confidence that, okay, we have a licensed entity in the middle, which will replace the LC. So the buyer can now deposit the money, whether, let's say the buyer's in the US, they can now deposit the money into our regulated entity. From there, the farmer now has the option to say, well, okay, my money's secured, let's negotiate the terms, and if they're satisfied, the transaction's completed. So we're just providing that safe environment that will be open to every single business, not just the big blue chip companies right now where they've got the banks to support them. We want to be able to make sure everyone has the same fair opportunities. Then it doesn't matter whether you're big or small from there.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So Cavex FX is providing that escrow service that can
Yeah,
help businesses to scale also. That's
that's correct.
wonderful. Now let's talk regulations.
Yes.
We understand that for finance, there's always this regulatory clampdown,
Yeah,
mostly because a lot of people have fallen scam to businesses that are not genuine, to
yeah,
businesses that have scammed them of their hard-earned money. Earlier, you talked about crypto. And you
Yes.
mentioned why you are giving education in crypto is so that people would have knowledge before even putting whatever they have into crypto. So, how does money in and even in your new situation with Cabex, how
Yeah.
do you go through regulatory waters? What practices do you adopt to ensure that you're top of the game when it comes to regulation? And
Yeah.
again, your 18 licenses, how have they helped you in terms of growth and development?
I mean, the good thing about us is that everyone in our corporation and our industry that we work with are knowledgeable people in the sense that we've all got a banking and finance background. Some way, shape, or form, we've all been helping the regulators or been working in the industry for a long, long time. So that's helped us a lot in understanding how we need to comply with the regulations, whether that's locally or overseas. But we have got some very comprehensive AML policies, anti-terrorism financing policies, which we obey and we follow to the letter. We don't deviate from this. We do try to make sure that whatever we do for our users is compliant. It doesn't break the law, but at the same time, we'll help them navigate their way through uh, certain industries or certain rules in order to make sure that it's done correctly. So we're not the one that will break the rules because we just want to earn or help or do something. We will stick to the law and what the law says. So that's important. People understand that. But when it comes to navigating the front end of stuff, for you, you shouldn't have to worry about that side of things as the user, as the product, as the customer. For you, it's straightforward. You just want to get a job done. It's up to us from the back end to make sure we do that job in the correct way, and that's what we'll continue to keep doing is working with the regulators, making sure that we try to help assist the regulators change the laws to make life more convenient, but at the same time make sure we're not dealing with terrorism and national security issues from there.
Okay, that's wonderful. I ask about regulation again because even as a startup, you face a lot of regulatory challenges. And as a startup, you have to go through the whole process of convincing not just the users, but
Yeah,
also the government why your
of
work
course.
should and why your business should stay.
Yeah.
Now, what were the challenges you navigated as a startup when Money In was just coming up before what you are now? What challenges did you face? How did you solve them? And what lessons have you taken from them?
I mean, the biggest challenge, again, I come back to Morocco because that's where we all started. But the biggest challenge was in Morocco that they didn't understand the regulations themselves. There was no regulations in place for fintech companies or fintech startups. So it was too new for that economy at that particular time. Now things have changed dramatically. Things have got better, things have become more easier, but I think the biggest hurdle or the biggest challenge is the banks, is our competitors. The banks see fintechs as a threat, where
Oh,
fintechs
yeah.
don't see the banks as a threat. The fintechs want to work with the banks. If we can all work together, then I think the best way to put it is we complicate things ourselves. If the minute we can just stop fighting about who has what and we start working together, things become much more easier. Regulations are very, very simple. They're very, very easy to follow. There's nothing complicated about it, but it's us as individuals that make it complex. And that's what actually has to change. Coming to Canada was really good because the system was already in place, the regulations were already in place. It was clear, it was understanding what you have to follow, and they just want to make sure that the companies that are coming in have the competency to be able to operate within this industry. And that's why education is key in doing so. And that's why we've been pushing on the educational side, not just for the benefit of us or anyone else, is to make sure that people, if they want to come into this industry, have the knowledge and know how to do it by making sure that they are literate when it comes to this industry.
Wow, that's insightful. That's insightful. And you mentioned that you're scaling across Africa. You
Yeah.
have an office in South Africa. You're seeing how you can break into the Nigerian market. What draws you especially to the African market? What do you see when you see the African market and your business?
I think Africa has a lot of potential in fact, if Africa I don't want to go into politics when it comes to it, so I'm just trying to think of the right words. But ultimately, Africa has a lot. If Africa really wanted to dominate when it comes to trading and commodities, Africa has it all. It's just about making sure that people are utilizing the assets or inland assets correctly in order to make sure that they're self-efficient. And I think from now we can see what's happening. We can see in Africa the stances have changed. The governments have started realizing that they don't need to rely on the rest of the world. They can do things themselves. And that's what we've been pushing for a long, long time. We've been trying to install this into the mindsets of the politicians, of the governments, to make them understand that they can actually do this. They can make Africa strong again, because that's what we all believe in. Africa's no different to the rest of the world.
Oh,
It has
yes.
all the resources there, and there's nothing stopping them from doing trade deals independently. So this is something that we've been pushing for a long, long time. And I think that's what will always continue to happen. So my passion for Africa is we see how the African people are. We have roots that come from Africa as well. So
Oh, yeah.
it will always tie us back to that particular continent, and we'll always be here to help Africa and push Africa forward, uh, and just make it one united Africa, because that's what I think everyone wants is one united Africa from there.
Well, as you mentioned, Africa has a lot of potential. And as I believe that it's time we act on that potential. And industry players like you, who are leading money in and in finance, you're helping act on the potential that Africa has. At
Mm.
our end, as a media house, we're looking at showcasing the best of Africa, picking out the intelligent stories, the real happenings from Africa, developmental issues from Africa. We're also acting on that potential.
Of
It's
course.
just hopeful that we're able to fast track that action and make
Yeah,
Africa be at the top of the globe where it should be. And all of
exactly.
that. Yes. Now, talking about international engagement, international waters, you hold an interesting position
Mm.
with the International Trade Council.
Yeah.
So, give us a background, tell us your engagement with the International Trade Council, and let us get to meet how your work with the International Trade Council affects the finance industry and everything on that.
Yeah. Well, the International Trade Council is an independent organization which was set up in the out from the US. What they've been doing is assisting member states and other countries in developing solid foundations when it comes to trade finance, when it comes to near enough every single industry. They have different departments for different things. My department, I'm the deputy chairman of the Banking and Trade Finance Division, and our goal is to assist and guide governments into creating new banking laws and regulations and advising them on how to implement these policies. So what this allows us to do is basically give our feedback to governments and to countries where we can help shape the banking industry for the betterment of their country. So that's what we've always tried to do and always will continue to try and do. We want to make we want to make trading much easier between the continents. We want to be able to give the knowledge and the experience and the assistance to small businesses and larger corporations, and we want to be able to make sure everyone can access everyone without any obstacles in the way. So the the organization or the council has developed many different products, with the latest now moving into developing a shipping trade portal, which will allow members to be able to access real life trading activities. Whether that's from Africa, whether that's from the US, people will be able to have access this database to be able to streamline their trading activities, to be able to connect with other businesses worldwide where they've not been able to connect to. And just open up the doors much more easier and make it much more easy for people from there.
Wow, that's interesting. And clearly, the imprint or footprint of the International Trade Council, can you share with us some practical engagement and how that has helped to ease trades between countries?
Yeah, so a lot of the directors and the board of directors are senior officials. So, for example, you've got a congressmen from Canada, you've got the diplomats and ambassadors from Estonia, you've got members of the House of Lords from England. So, it's it's the only platform that I know that has key government or ex-government officials all working together. Doesn't matter which country they're from. So that's for me is key because that unites everyone together and they're all working on the same vision and the same mentality. And that's to make sure that everyone has the same opportunity. So when people become a member of the council, they have access to all the networking events, which allows them to liaise with businesses. It doesn't matter whether it's a $1 billion industry or whether a business or whether it's a new startup. Everyone is equal to everyone when it comes to these events. And you get to sit with the ministers or the diplomats or the government officials, and you can actually have real conversations with them. And they will help you. They will help you in your situation where if you need to sort something out on the trading elements, they will be there to guide you through it. So it's not that you just meet them and you forget about them. With the Trade Council, they'll continue to work with you over and over again to make sure you achieve what you're trying to achieve. And that's what I believe makes the International Trade Council different from any other councils and organizations out there today.
Wow, that's really interesting. So now looking at your engagement at Money In and
Yeah.
back to where we started this short discussion that we've had so far, there are innovators in Africa,
Yeah.
and there are people who want to cross into international waters,
Yeah.
be it in the banking industry or the finance industry, or be it in the agriculture industry. What would you advise to someone who is starting up or to someone who is scaling or intending to scale their business into
Yeah.
different markets? What would be your advice?
My advice or what helped me was networking. It's key to network. It doesn't matter whether that's in a coffee shop or whether that's at an event. It's just don't feel afraid to just walk up to someone and start talking because you never know who that person may be. You never know what the outcome will come to. So if you're just sitting there in a coffee shop and you see someone, you can just walk up to them and start talking and you'll be surprised that okay, there a lot can come out from this. So it's I say networking is key. It's crucial for any startup, for any business, whether you've already succeeded or not succeeded. Networking is always number one on the agenda. And determination. Don't give up. Don't just give up at the first sight of a hurdle or an obstacle. It took us years to get to where we were, and it's now been what 10 years since even before Money In, we were fighting and advocating for what we believe in order to help or implement our vision. So be persistent, be patient, but at the same time, just continue to network. And you might think it's a waste of time, but it isn't. Believe me, it will help you somewhere along the line. It will help you and it will push you in the right direction. So that would be my advice to startups, to individuals that never give up, continue to network, and keep pushing forward no matter what, because nothing's impossible.
Ah, absolutely.
Everything can be achieved. If you can think it, you can build it.
You
You
can
can do
do it.
it.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. You know, Muhammad Ali would say that impossible is nothing. And
Exactly.
Nelson Mandela would tell you that it is always impossible until it is done.
Yep.
So, so yes, yes, these are wise words of wisdom that also, these are words of wisdom rather that resonate with you as well, and
Of
what
course.
you've just shared with us so far. So now, where should we see money in future? What
Well,
can we expect money in to do in the next decade to shift the balance?
I think the balance has already started to change with or without us. That's the good thing. There's a lot of fintech companies out there which are helping to reshape this industry for the betterment of the people. And as long as we all stick to that and we don't deviate from that and become greedy, then the industry is changing fast. For us, that's always been our vision. It's never been about us as individuals, never been about us as a corporation to just dominate and take over the world, should we say. But we've been here because we want, if as long as it's helping the people, as long as our messages are getting out there and people can see what we're trying to achieve and it helps that person move into that same direction, that's what our real goal is to make sure that everyone is on the same page and our vision is implemented, whether they see our name or not. That's irrelevant. We just want to make sure that it helps the people from there. So we hope that our message will be global. We hope that people will implement our strategies, and that alone is instrumental for us. That's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us our legacy.
Well, that's interesting. So now you've touched on legacy.
Yeah,
Touched on legacy. So looking at legacy,
yeah,
especially for the board of money in, and we know that changing the fintech landscape or the business in
yeah,
Africa and globally, it's important. But when we talk about legacy in terms of impact on small businesses and users of
hmm.
money in, or even businesses generally, what kind of impact do you hope that money in is going to achieve in the coming years?
Well, we always want to put the people first. So, uh, our core vision is to make sure that it makes your life easier. Money in is not just another software or another platform. It's a necessity. It's something that you need in your everyday life because it will make your life easier. If it can make your life easier, then it will push you to do more productive things in life from there. So that's exactly what we're trying to build and implement in people's mindsets, that we are a necessity, but in a good way, that we're here to make your lives easier and make it more convenient for you. So that's what we will continue to try and do. That's what we will always try and do, and that's what we will keep implementing in new ways as and when technology gets better and better and better. So yeah, that's our goal, that's our vision, and that's what we hope will be implemented and continue to be implemented for many, many years more.
Well, it's interesting, and I'm going to say thank you for this wonderful conversation. The truth
Thank you.
is, for us, businesses like Money In are the kind of businesses we want to promote across Africa. We want to make sure that whatever we do, as we also do it on a continental level, we want to push it out there so people can see that there are excellent things that other businesses are doing that they can adopt and that they can also use to grow themselves as people.
Yeah,
So thank you for sharing the knowledge of money in with us. Thank you for also telling us about the vision that you have helped to lead for a couple of years so far. We sincerely look forward to money in getting better and also money in growing. And I hope that I'll have another conversation with you where you
I'm
take us
sure we
in
will.
depth into how far you've come. Thank you for this,
Definitely.
Arif,
Thank you
and
so much.
have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you. You too. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you again. We'll speak soon.
Yes, and our regards to the board at Moneyin.
Thank you. We will do. Much
All right.
appreciated.